this is going to be a very, very deep dive, and I tell you, there is so much I had to go through. I like literally just finished it, and I can present my findings to you today. I actually found quite a few things that I think no one else has really talked about, and I think are kind of relevant, so let's just get right into it. Now, if you haven't seen anything, somehow haven't seen anything about the situation, I'm going to go through it, but I'm also going to go through all the new information, and like I said before, things that I don't think anyone else has talked about. So, let us begin. So, who is Sykkuno? Well, if you don't know, Sykkuno is a large content creator who started streaming in December of 2018. He is most notable for his Among Us content during 2020. As you remember, lockdowns, yada yada, it was a very big thing. So Sykkuno was apparently offered a ridiculous amount of money to stream exclusively on YouTube for a period of time after gaining his fame. I think it was around 2021, 2022 or something. And as an example, Ludwig Agren of a similar size as Sykkuno, I think, also moved to YouTube in 2021 for a large sum of undisclosed money. It is speculated he earned around $8 to $10 million from that deal, but who honestly knows? So the Hemomal, I'm going to call her Hemomal? I think some people might call her Hemomal. I don't know, that sounds weird. So Hemomal, the Google Docky that she made, which is what spurred this whole thing, that dropped April 10th of 2026, this year. So Sykkuno was alleged by Mal, Hemomal, I'm gonna call him Mal for short, that he is a serial cheater, master manipulator, and a dangerous predator. A lot of people had a lot to say about these tags, but anywho, Mal made a call to action requesting that anyone comfortable with coming forward with how they've been affected by Sykkuno, treated, yada yada, to do so if they can, and they did. Oh boy, they did. So the Hemomal situation, know that Sykkuno followed Mal on Valentine's Day 2026, so February, and then Mal sent him a DM the following day asking if he was looking for a Valentine. So they added each other on Discord and the relationship turned flirty pretty quickly. Sykkuno had told Mal that he'd been in a relationship previously a long time ago and they broke up, and apparently she broke up with him, so it was probably just a me issue. Yeah, you think? At least he probably wasn't lying about that. Sykkuno would send Mal money unprompted. She frames it as a tactic used by Sykkuno as a means of manipulation and a form of predatory behavior on women. Okay. This is corroborated by many other women, namely Elfilea, who received a total of 1,700 USD from Sykkuno, which we'll get into later. And then Leia and Icelyn are also a couple other girls who also received money from Sykkuno or had things paid for by him. More on that later. So Elfilea's relationship with Sykkuno. The two would talk on and off for about 5 years, and like everybody else, she also had no idea that he had a girlfriend. Some people have said that this is a bit weird, like how can you talk to someone on and off for 5 years and the whole time they're not in a relationship like ever or something like that. I don't think it's that weird, to be honest. I think that, you know, the way that he kind of says it is that he's like a shut-in, he just plays video games, and he's like a, I don't know, I think everyone kind of can get the gist of like what his shtick was when it came to that. So eventually, Sykkuno offered to fully pay off her trip to TFT Paris, which happened just recently, December last year. But she said it was too expensive to go initially, and she was like, oh, I can't go, like, no, money. And that's when he went like, oh, I can pay for it. And he offered to pay for everything, food, and something called Offkai as well, which is like a VTuber expo. So she did end up going to Paris, where she, I think, met him. And this actually happened around the same time that he was discussing the potential of moving in with Hemomal. Also getting a cat together or something about looking after a cat together. What a dog. What a dog guy. So Elfilea went to Paris and presumably slept with Sykkuno. I haven't seen any confirmation. I feel like people just keep saying that I'm assuming she did. I don't know for sure, but I think that's like the vibe. Another girl was also lined up for Sykkuno to pay for her to come to Paris to stay at his hotel room together. So yeah, more on that later. But yeah, Elfilea was the one that ended up being the girl, I guess. So yeah, that's her. In case you didn't realize. So here we have some screenshots. They're a bit blurry, so I apologize for that. And so he's like, yeah, well, I was playing WoW and you reminded me of you. And she was like, oh my god, you reminded me of me, oh my god. And then he's like, yeah, so, are you gonna go to Offkai or anything? And she's like, I wish, but unfortunately my rent is just so much, and yada yada. She cancelled all her travels for the year because she's fully living off her savings. And, yeah, and so that's when he paid for the stuff. This is another separate thing where he's like, good morning, and she's like, hi, and he's like, how was your day? She's like, awful, spent the whole day crying right now, why do men some cheat? I'll never understand. A lot of people had a lot to say about that. Don't worry, we'll get into it. So, in 2025, there were rumors spreading among the communities online about Sykkuno allegedly targeting smaller female creators to manipulate them. That was the conversation in the sort of like networks at the time. So this kind of conversation apparently was going around and has been going around for quite some time. Elfilea sort of confronted Sykkuno about this, but he dispelled the rumors as being baseless and made up simply by some dude who just like doesn't like him or something, and he's like, whoa, I hope he, I don't know why he's so mad at me, I don't know what I did to him. Yeah, so for the time being, rumors about Sykkuno were part of a whisper network, and so no one really dared to say anything outright publicly, which makes sense, he's a big creator. If you just come out and blah blah blah, people are going to be like, what are you talking about? You know? And as a matter of fact, someone, I think one of his exes in 2018 or something, actually tried to come out and say stuff about him, but they were like swallowed by his fan base. They like fucking harassed the shit out of her. This is his ex-girlfriend, by the way. Probably the one who broke up with him because he's bad. I don't know why I did that, but yeah, so that's apparently something that happened. So perhaps people just thought he was untouchable. Anyway, so yeah, that's a screenshot of Elfilea being like, yo, this is what happened, and he's like, whoa, that's so weird. Have no idea about that. And yeah, so crazy. But you know what's crazy about this is where I'm kind of like, okay, some of these people are kind of dumb. Why would you go to the person who has the rumors out about them and be like, oh my god, did you do this terrible thing? And then it's like, of course they're gonna be like, what? No. Crazy. Then so Sykkuno is more like, oh, well, I have no idea what that's about. And she's like, oh, he's just jealous of you. He just brought you up out of the blue. He's like, I don't think there's much to be jealous of, lol. Kind of funny. Self-deprecating humor. Kind of funny. And she says that some dude, apparently 5 of his friends had been hurt by Sykkuno. And her first thought was like, this guy's a fucking idiot, dude. I'm not gonna try and ask about like maybe get in contact with these 5 other people that he supposedly knows who got hurt by Sykkuno. Like, there's just something about that where I'm like, girl, like, why are we asking a man if what he did was what he did? I don't know. A little bit like, okay. I don't love that. But you know what? Mistakes happen, right? It's a lesson for all of us to learn. You'll come to understand that that is a key part of this whole situation. So, did she cheat on her boyfriend with Sykkuno? This is something that was kind of like in the conversation because yada yada, she had a screenshot where she's like, oh, why do guys cheat and stuff? And it's like, well, if you're going to complain about cheating, then maybe you shouldn't be cheating yourself. So apparently, according to her, she's been single since December of 2024, and in her own screenshots, as we said, dated 27th of February 2025, she was crying about some dude cheating on her or something. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's possible that she only just like found out about it that day. Maybe she didn't know about it. Maybe she wasn't sure. I don't really know the specifics. I just think that there's a possibility it's not like how it seems, and I feel like I don't think she'd include like evidence where it's like suspicious that she's also a cheater. If like I just feel like that's like It's a little bit too dumb to do, right? So, Elfilea apparently went to Paris December 10th of 2025, and as I said, presumably had sex with Sykkuno. She started to get to know the guy that she fell for on the 26th of December of 2025, and they were never exclusive from the get-go. So that's what that screenshot is a text message between them talking about that. Okay. So the key here being she met him after the Paris thing with Sykkuno. So, she didn't cheat on him? And a lot of people were hung up by, like, the idea, like, she said that they were dating and stuff and saying, like, oh, that means you're in an exclusive relationship. It doesn't necessarily mean that. I think, like, yeah, you know what? When I first got back into dating, it was, like, a whole new world out there where it was all, like, people on Tinder, people on the apps, people doing this shit. I was not, like, that was completely new to me. And so when I first started dating, I didn't realize that you kind of had to have a conversation with someone about being exclusive. And some people, I think, they just, the way that they date is it's not exclusive automatically. To me personally, if I'm dating someone, it's like automatically exclusive. But I didn't realize that the world that I was coming back to, like the world of dating, I didn't realize that that was kind of a thing with some people. So communication is key, guys. All right, by the way, everything I got, all these pictures, all this information, everything I got is from these people's Twitter profiles. I went through everyone's Twitter profiles. There's a lot of information in those things, a lot of pictures. These are all like public things. I didn't go out of my way to go stalk someone or find creepy things. This is public stuff, okay? Just before anyone starts calling me a weirdo, because I definitely felt like a weirdo. So we got Elfilea and Yukime. I wrote YouTube there. She probably has a YouTube channel. Anyway, so this is Elfilea. That's what she looks like. That's Yukime. That is her friend. I believe these two ladies are like actually good friends. Obviously they've met in real life. They know each other. They've talked to each other about like their relationship stuff. I believe Yukime, she's actually in like a relationship with some guy. She does Bansley, I think. She's actually got a pretty like, her website is like kind of all sorted and stuff. She's got a lot of stuff going on. So that's kind of what it is with these two. And now we have Hemomal. Remember Mal? Hemomal? She apparently hung out with Yukime, this chick over here. You can see why I started feeling like kind of like a stalker here. So this is dated April 10th, 2026. What else happened April 10th of 2026? It got 500,000 views, this picture. So yeah, Hemomal, she comes, she's cooking, she looks snatched and hot. We love to see it. You go, girl. And Elfilea, she retweeted this. So it says, guys, Hemomal arrived and literally started cooking for us like, mommy? So it's kind of like us. Were all three of these girls hanging out? So it's clearly Elfie and Yuki were like friends before all this happened, but then Hemomal kind of became like a friend in the friend group. It turned into a friend group, I think. Which is like cute, okay. So these girls all know each other and talk about their relationship stuff, or at least like with like Elfie and Yukime, they definitely have like text messages between each other talking about their relationship that is on Twitter now because they had to, or at least I think Elfie had to prove that she was in a relationship at a different time frame, so that's why these text messages are on the internet, yada yada. So I believe, yeah, Pookie is Yumime. I don't know for certain, but I just thought, like, the background for their chat is literally them, so, you know. But yeah, Mal seems to be a new friend, a newly additional person in the group. Yeah, Yukime is in a relationship from what I can tell. You know, on her profile she has pictures with some guy. Cute. I think she's engaged actually, so maybe. That might be misinformation. I don't care. So it's just Elfilea and Hemomal who were also with Sykkuno and found out about each other. So in the document, Hemomal says, Elfilea and I weren't friends until I found out that Sykkuno was cheating on his girlfriend. That's when they both got into contact with each other and shared their stories. Okay. So from what I can tell, it's true that Hemomal was not friends from the get-go. This isn't like a secret like sting operation. I don't know if anyone was thinking that. I just thought I'd put it out in the open, I suppose. So yeah, I think they just found out after they found out Sykkuno was two-timing them. I don't think it's a lie. It is unclear what the timeline is like. When did Elfie and Mal get into contact? How did they find out about each other? I don't know for certain. Does it matter? I don't know. So this is how Bao the Whale, and yes, that is her name, and Hemomal made contact. So Mal and Bao are two VTubers, get that, and they were in contact, and that was the catalyst of Mal making the Google Darkie, and yeah, because Mal found out she was a side chick, so she's like, okay, I'm gonna do something about this. And apparently an unnamed popular male VTuber tried to slide into Mal's DMs and flirt with her, but then she rejected him, and then the conversation went into him mentioning nasty rumors about Bao to Mal, and then Mal tried to reach out to Bao out of concern for her via the moderators, and then the three of them had a conversation with, you know, Mal, Bao, the moderator, and then she was like, I'm so nervous for a date that I'm gonna go on, and then they were like, oh, who are you dating? And then she was like, oh, I'm going out with Sykkuno, and then they were like, do not go out with Sykkuno. I thought, interestingly, in the past, oh my god, on my birthday, I just noticed that, Hemomal did a art of Bao, or at least she was posting an art that she did, which very pretty actually. I really like the shading on that. That's gorgeous. Gorgeous hair and colors, my god. So yeah, Hemomal drew fan art of Bao in the past, and Bao has around 1 million subs on YouTube. She's quite poppin'. I don't know about her, I'm not a VTuber person, but I think it's safe to say Bao is quite well known in the space, and I just didn't know any of this beforehand, so I just thought I'd give you guys all the context that I found interesting. So how Bao knew Sykkuno's girlfriend is that she made a controversial tweet, or indirectly calling out Sykkuno in 2025, and Sykkuno's girlfriend allegedly reached out to Bao and asked if the tweet was like about Sykkuno and if it was true, which to me indicates that the girlfriend must have heard things about him, but saw that Bao was now indirectly talking about it, so she wanted Bao's confirmation and trusted that, I guess. And anyway, that's what I reckon anyway, and I think that considering the girl's identity was like a secret, has been a secret, something like that, it's perhaps that gave her kind of an edge to where she could hear things about him that maybe weren't so public. Oh, I was about to say something there. Let's just say she knows the circles, so it's not entirely crazy to me that she might have heard stuff, okay? And so Bao said, if you're an up-and-coming female content creator with a small but growing audience, and a much larger and successful male content creator approaches you out of nowhere and showers you with attention on stream and DMs, etc., don't walk, run. But she didn't specify whether to run into their arms or away from them, so I'm gonna run straight into their arms. Anywho, if it seems like I'm a bit flippant about this, I'm literally going crazy. I've been covering this for like the whole weekend, working on it for ages, and I'm just the type of person where I like to put in some humor sometimes, but there is a lot of serious stuff in here, so don't let that get distracting. So, Bao went on a Discord call with Sykkuno's girlfriend and explained to her that multiple women had confided in her about their experiences with him. And Bao, according to the docky, had described a pattern of behavior to Mal where Sykkuno seemed to target small female content creators and, from Bao's perspective, allegedly pressured them into sex. So Bao offered to get Sykkuno's girlfriend connected with the alleged victims directly so she could hear it from them instead. And I'm calling them victims here because they are victims of lies and deceit, not necessarily a crime, but he did wrongdoing and harm to them, and I think that qualifies you to be a victim of something. And so to anyone wondering, yes, Sykkuno's girlfriend, very much real, guys. Haha. A lot of people are joking that she's not even real, which kind of funny, but it's also like, she's real, guys, okay? She's real. And Bao and Mal have apparently talked to her. Bao's talked to her on voice call. So you have Sykkuno's GF in the group chat in Discord. Apparently, yeah, so Bao and her moderator had already known a few people who had experiences, and they ended up putting Mal into a group chat with Sykkuno's girlfriend. And so, yeah, again, remember, Bao thought it was important that the girlfriend heard directly from people instead of, like, giving, like, recounts and stuff, which I think is, like, fine. I don't know if anyone was upset about that. It's fine. And aside from Sykkuno's girlfriend getting connected to the girls he lied to, Bao apparently didn't have anything to do with the dockies, and she just wanted the girlfriend to be able to hear from the girls herself. And so Bao was keeping everything private and respecting the girlfriend's boundaries. Don't think she did anything wrong there. So obviously, Sykkuno's girlfriend had a heavy response to this, as to be expected. She was mortified, probably blindsided from seeing the screenshots of Mal and Sykkuno's flirty conversations. Keep in mind, Mal and, like, other girls had let Sykkuno, given him sensitive material for him to self-gratify with, if you know, you know. And this is corroborated by other women who came out, spoke out, did the same for him. Icelyn, we'll get to that. Some people think, though, that knowing now that Hemomal takes, like, spicy pictures for, like, Patreon and Twitter and stuff, that makes this have less meaning, and I think, to be clear, from what I can tell, she doesn't do anything explicit apart from taking pictures in, like, skimpy clothes and doing, like, girlfriend experience audios. She very well could have sent nudes, sexual pictures, videos to Sykkuno, which to me is vastly different, and I think that, yeah, there's a difference between making content for, like, an audience and making something for someone who's, like, you know, you feel special. If anything, it's kind of cheating them. She makes business selling, like, titty pics. Girl, you're giving out that out for free? Come on. Come on, Sykkuno. I mean, he gave us some money, so it's like, in a way, it's like... Anywho. So, Sykkuno had said things about wanting to move in with Mal and get a cat together, as I said before. That's probably... I don't know if the girlfriend saw that or something, but, like, that's fucking crazy. So Sykkuno's girlfriend said, "I'm sorry, I can't handle looking at anything else. I need to leave this chat because looking at everything is making me feel sick. If there is something that happens in the future, please contact me somewhere. I'm sorry." Understandable. So Bao and Sykkuno's girlfriend. Sykkuno's girlfriend wanted to move out and leave him initially, and Bao tried to help her with moving plans on the 24th of March of 2026. Checks out. Doing the math. Sykkuno's girlfriend was going to have her friends fly in from out of state to come help her out, but in the end, as we all know, she decided to stay with Sykkuno. An angel just lost its wings, truly. So this is the message that she sent, and she said, "Hi Bao, I'm sorry, it's been a bit since I've gotten back to you. I wanted to let you know that what was going on, but I imagine it will probably be a bit confusing for you to hear. Essentially, before I left for blank, I decided to go see blank. Something was pushing me to see him before I left, so I decided to go." Wondering if that's like his name or something? She called him by his name, but we know what his name is, so... I'm not sure what that's about. I don't think it's helpful for me to go into details, but basically, I was shown some things that really made me doubt my decision on leaving. After talking with him for a long time and after seeing these things, I decided it wasn't the choice I wanted to make anymore, so I didn't end up leaving. It's hard. It's hard, isn't it? So yeah, from the 24th March to the 30th. Yep. 30th of March. Yeah, so around or before the 30th of March, she decides to stay with him, and then not long after that decision was made, Hemomal, that's when she made contact with Bao, showing proof that Mal and Sykkuno had been talking just as soon as 30 minutes ago from when she made contact with Bao. And this was after the girlfriend decided to stay with Sykkuno and fix the relationship. Holy fuck. back, right? And that can only mean one thing. If my information is correct, the girlfriend was shown some things that made her doubt leaving, which I presume Sykkuno. He gets down on his knees, he's on the floor, he's slobbering, he's crying, he's going, please, I'll make it up to you. I'll change. I can do better. No one wants a fuck up like me. Like, that's what I feel like. He's like doing the whole routine of like being like, oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry, poor me. Yeah, so I presume Sykkuno just promised that he'd change or something, and for the girl, I feel like the whole moving out thing is probably like a really hard thing to do, right? And she probably didn't even want the relationship to end, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's all speculative on my part for that, but the fact that he still had a date with Hemomal after all that proves to me that once a cheater, always a fucking cheater. Right? Right? It's fucked up. If that's correct, then even after promising, I'm assuming, doing something to try and be like, yeah, man, I'm gonna get better, I'm gonna do better. That is so fucked up. I just, oh. So, at this point in the situation, once Sykkuno's girlfriend and Mal were in contact, Bao left the chat pretty much like immediately because she said that she was at her wit's end with it all and she tried to help the girl to leave, but she made her own decision and Bao wanted to respect it, even though Bao seemed to not really agree with it, which is understandable. I think 99% of people wish she fucking left him. So yeah, Bao was pretty firm that she had nothing to do with the docky because, you know, as you might know, people are kind of against the Hemomal Google docky right now. People think that Bao is the one, well, she kind of got it all started, and I think, no, I think that Bao had no way of knowing that this was going to happen. So, I mean, there is a potential where if she had have looked through, some of Hemomal's, like, previous tweets going through her Twitter account, like I did, she might have seen that there's, like, a little bit of, like, ooh, this girl gets into, like, a bit of drama, like, a lot. But at the same time, it's like Bao, like, it's probably not, like, it probably doesn't really matter that much to her, right? And to her, she was like, listen, all I want to do is make sure that the girlfriend is, like, aware. I think from my understanding of Bao, it seems to me like she really just wanted the girlfriend to leave her, and she probably thought that if she hears it from, like, the girls and gets in contact with them and knows, like, all the details of what her boyfriend's been doing behind her back to her, that could be, like, enough to make her leave, but it wasn't. So yeah, people dislike Bao in this situation, but I don't know her history, to be clear. I heard that she has some very weird controversies that I don't know anything about. I don't know nothing about nobody. But in this particular situation, I don't think she did anything wrong. Truly. So, Sykkuno ended up admitting to everything, well, the cheating. So the Google Docky ends with a recorded call between Hemomal and Sykkuno, and allegedly, this video actually revealed the identity of Sykkuno's girlfriend. Ugh. And please, guys, please don't share that information around. I mean, I feel like anyone who wants to can figure it out, and that sucks because obviously she wanted to remain private. There hasn't been any confirmation from either parties, understandably, but I think everyone kind of like, at this point, it's kind of like an open secret, I guess. And that really sucks, it really does. I feel for her because I feel for her on that. It really sucks. So according to a Reddit post, it was due to a frame of Mal's video, or maybe it was Mujin's video because he covered the document and her Discord video, but there was a frame that was unblurred and showed her Discord app, Mal's Discord app, that she was recording, and she had opened the group chat with the girlfriend. Was it an accident? I honestly have no idea how a blur effect stops for like one frame randomly at the most opportune time. Like, that's kind of suspicious to me. No? I don't think that's kind of suspicious? Kind of weird? Especially because during this whole video, she's like imploring him, like, you need to break up with her, you need to break up with her, and leave her, and, you know, you've been so bad to her, you need to leave her. That's what Mal was doing, and it was like, she was very insistent, let's just say that. And I wonder if I wonder if she was, I'm just coming to this conclusion now, this thought. I wonder if she was so insistent, like, to Sykkuno, like, you need to break up with her and do the right thing because she knew that the girlfriend wanted to kind of work it out. It's interesting. It's an idea. So in this Discord video, we find that Mal can't forgive Sykkuno for what he did to his girlfriend, and yet she still wants to talk to him. She wants him to break up with his girlfriend, says she'll never forgive him for what he did to her, but they can be friends now. And then Mal says that he didn't cheat on her. Mal's like, you didn't cheat on me. So, like, I'm all for second chances. She was fine with remaining as friends, and Mal kind of says this in response to Sykkuno being like, well, this is probably the last time that we talk. And she's like, whoa, 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 no, 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 I want to be your friend still. It's fucking weird, dude. I feel like that's fucking weird. Anyway, so Mal was questioned about this behavior, and people said she seemed to want to get back with him after he broke up with his girlfriend, well, like, because she kept telling him to. And this made people suspicious of, like, her true intentions were with recording and, like, the Google Docky. My question is, if you wholeheartedly thought in the best spirit that you believe in second chances, Sykkuno and you had a potential friendship, why record it in the first place? Was it an insurance policy? I mean, if they remained friends, then a document surely never would have been made anyway, so it's like, I just don't see how friendship was ever even an option here after discovering what was going on. It's a bit weird. You have to admit, Mal kind of acted a little bit weird here. So, yeah, so Mal still very obviously has feelings for Sykkuno, and like screenshots that are provided by her show that it was in fact Sykkuno in the DMs suggesting to remain friends owned by Sykkuno, and Sykkuno said, if we hang out more and more and it grows into more than that, let's do that. I want to feel ready to reciprocate the same feelings, and right now I'm not so it feels unfair to you. Why did he say this when him and his girlfriend already decided to work things out? It's like, maybe my timeline's not right, but I feel like I don't see how it's not. Now, that's the kind of thing that you need his girlfriend to come out and say about, but she's not going to because she's private, so, yeah. So, Mal says, if you want that as just friends, and that's okay too, it might take some time for me to get a little over, because obviously I still have feelings for you. So this happened on the 27th this year. Oh, that's in Australian date, by the way, 27th of March. Yeah. And so remember, the docu was released April 10th. Yeah. So if it were me, in this situation, this is the exact kind of situation where I'd be like, I'm cutting ties with you. I do not want to be your friend. I think his behavior is indicative of someone very troubled in, like, a social aspect. It's very antisocial. Like, the fucking lying. Not even just to the girls, but your friends. This guy doesn't have friends. Like, full stop. You don't have friends. If you're lying to your friends about, like, having a girlfriend for the past, like, 7, 9 years, that is fucking insane. So you're telling me that you have, like, a whole relationship, you got together, maybe you go on dates, maybe you hang out. What do you talk about with your friends then? You don't talk about anything. Anything personal, emotionally vulnerable? You never say, like, oh, me and my girlfriend, we had, like, a little talk about, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you never talk about that. I know there's, like, a thing where, like, men don't really talk about things, but I feel like even the most bare minimum male relationships, at least you know that your buddy's got a girlfriend or a wife or something like that. Like, especially if you've known them for a very long time, come to their house. You're telling me that these people who came to your house, you found a way to get your girlfriend away for the day to make sure they didn't meet her or see her? It's like, ooh. So then we have the cheating. The cheating! That's like one of the biggest things. It's the serial cheating, and it was serial cheating. Holy shit. And in order to do that cheating, I hate to tell you guys, but he manipulated them. In my opinion. He was manipulative. I mean, just from the fact that he lied to them, that is manipulation. and the lack of accountability being taken, if you see, we'll see later, this guy does not seem sorry whatsoever. These are all markers of the sort of person I don't want to know. I do not care for you. I'm sorry, I don't have time in my life to be with someone who's like that. So, Hemomal saying that she could never forgive him for what he's done to his girlfriend, yet still being like, well, I want to talk to you and be your friend, play games with you. It's like, to me, like, it's very off-putting to me personally. And I'm sure a lot of people kind of feel the same way, maybe. To me personally, so off-putting. I cannot relate to that. Bye, sister. You know, I think it's safe to say, yeah, she still liked him, she was angry, but I just still found it weird, and recording that final call, even though you're saying you want to be friends, like, it feels so two-faced. It feels two-faced. So it's not hard for me to be a little bit weirded out by her intentions and her purpose here. Which leads me to my next slide. So this is why people dislike Hemomal. So Hemomal gives off a very vindictive kind of intentions with the Google Docky, and it makes sense. She was angry. I think you can say, yeah, she probably did want to hurt Sykkuno in like a way. You know? That's my impression of it. That's my opinion. The usage of the word predator, framing him as a dangerous predator, the general public seem to conflate this with allegations of pedophilia, which I don't agree with. But yeah, this word being used as people disliking Mujin and others that agree with that framing, you know, I think that I'm not going to argue the semantics of definitions of like words and shit, so that's why I'm not going to, I'm more focused today on like the situations, explaining them to you and giving you all the information that I've sought out and found, instead of being like, this is that, that's that. I always believe that there's power in labeling things, but I think here it's probably going to end up doing the opposite, so I'm not going to really focus too much on labels. That being said, I do think maybe calling him a dangerous predator, maybe that was the straw that broke the camel's back here. Maybe that was like too intense for a lot of people. I think that, yeah, but I think that if someone does predatory behavior, does that not also mean that they could be a predator? But then I guess I had my other video was talking about, being a misogynist or sexist. I was like, well, you can say sexist things, but I don't think that necessarily makes you a sexist person. I think that, you know, a lot of it is like down to intention. I think people are unintentionally sexist, but when it comes to this kind of thing, I don't think anything he did was unintentional, and I don't think the situations are really things that can be compared against each other. So anyway, I'm not here to talk more about the labeling of stuff, but I will say that Hemomal later retracted the predator label, saying that English is not her first language, and Mujin also apologized for using the P word, predator, and promised to only use it in scenarios befitting it, such as pedophiles and sexual predators, I think he said. So it's like, okay, we're out on the word predator, apparently. The public has brought the pressure, and we have bent our knee to the public pressure there. So yeah, that's Mujin if you didn't know, by the way. Yahoo! So, who is Mujin? Mujin is a drama VTuber who covers drama on his YouTube channel. He was given early access to the Google Docky and uploaded his video about the document roughly 2 hours after it had been released to the public. People criticized Mujin for covering the document with little to no pushback, no criticism. Also, as I said, usage of the word predator, right? People thought it was weird that he didn't discuss the Discord recording in a way where he was like calling out Hemomal for the way that she was acting and being, not really bringing like, yeah, any criticism or pushback on that. And also, Mujin's defense was kind of that, like, he didn't have enough time to make a video that he usually makes, like, the same quality. And so it was kind of rushed because the document obviously was planned to come out at a certain time, and yeah. So he deleted that video and made an apology. So this is another thing that's like a point of contention, is did Hemomal lie about her relationship with Mujin? There was like some talking about how like, oh, well, this is a planned, coordinated like attack, people kept saying. And we have both accounts here where Hemomal says, me and Mujin have been friends and have been one of my confidants in this the entire time. Or in this the entire time, I think she meant. On top of that, predator doesn't mean pedo. I say that he was a predator because he has gone around the VTubing community, specifically reaching out to smaller female streamer to get sexual favors out of them, or giving them both half-truths and lies. Yeah, okay. So, that's what she said. She called him a friend and a confidant. Mujin then said, some members of my community have reached out regarding a few concerns, and I want to make sure I properly address them before we fully move on from this topic. Look, I'm flattered that Hemomal tweeted that she considers me a close friend, and I'm grateful for her trust. But the first time we spoke was on April 7th. So this narrative that the video is made as a favor to anyone is simply false. Whoa. Okay, so here's what I have to say about this. I think Mujin kind of threw her under the bus. She didn't say, from what I could gather, she did not say that he was her close friend. She just said that he was a confidant in this situation, which is pretty much what she said. She didn't give a specific date, but from the time that she, I guess, was going through all these feelings and emotions of the situation, he was someone who she contacted, I guess, and, yeah, I don't think anyone thought that was close friends. He's the one who's saying that she tweeted that she considers him a close friend, so I kind of feel like Mujin here threw her under the bus to kind of reclaim some, like, credibility, because as you may know, people are kind of saying he's lost his credibility by doing kind of like a hit piece on someone without kind of waiting to see, like, the sides of it and see all the stuff, and, yeah, and I'm gonna say, like, someone can confide in you when you're not, like, a best or close friend. That happens all the time. You know, you could have, like, a fucking therapist, confide in your therapist, but they're not your best friend, they're not your friend, they're your therapist, you know? That's kind of what I thought of this, and so I thought it was interesting seeing Mujin appear to try to minimize the situation to perhaps kind of make Hemomal look a little bit weird. I don't know, like, did anyone else feel that way when they saw that? He did say, however, which I kind of agreed with, is that he wanted to boost the document so that more people could come forward and talk about their situation with Sykkuno, or, like, their experiences, which I do think was an important part of it all. I think as flawed as, like, the document was, I feel like there was an element of that was important for this situation. I really do. I think that's it. So, here's where I get into the really weird part of things, and that's kind of pertaining to Mal. She says that she used the word predator because, English isn't her first language. I believe her. I believe she's, part Moroccan, from what I could gather from her profile. I think she's part Moroccan or something. She lives in Europe, or something like that. God, I really feel like a weirdo. Anyway, so she says English is not her first language, that's why she used the word predator. Honestly, I'd probably give a lot more respect and credit if she was just like, listen, I don't like him, I fucking kind of hate him, I was angry when I made the document, but maybe I was a bit harsh with some things, I don't know. Anyway, after seeing a clear history of Mal's Twitter account, things that she's posted, dramas that she's been in. She was in another drama before this, quite recently, like October-ish last year. And just seeing all the screenshots from both her and other people screenshotting her conversations, it's so messy, you guys. I feel like she has a very, very good grasp of the English language. From my limited viewpoint, I guess, I don't think that English is a difficult language for her to grasp. And that's just what I think based on this kind of drama that we saw here. So yeah, Sykkuno was not the first rodeo of her wanting to expose a cheater via a Google Darkie. Yeah, so you might see a whole bunch of text right here. Totally understandable. You don't have to read this. I'm going to summarize it. I will be linking down the Twitter post down below so you can actually read these yourself, because I don't have the time for this, but I can summarize it very well. Yeah, so this happened near Christmas of 2025. Ooh. So there is a love quadrangle that happened. Yeah, kind of. So there's this guy called JiosukeJioVT who is a VTuber. He's like a bodybuilder as well or something. And he was boyfriend-girlfriend with this girl, Vanessa. So that chick right there with like the rose for an eye. They were like kind of dating, but then he was like kind of a dick. So they stopped dating and became friends with benefits. And they actually had plans to meet up during Christmas to fuck. For lack of a better word. From my understanding, that's what it was. And then Gio was with this girl, Umari, the Miku-looking chick, and Mal, telling them that he was not with Vanessa anymore and they hadn't spoken and that Vanessa was weird or so, he's talking shit or something like that. And then Hemomal started talking to Vanessa to get the tea and the screenshots because she wanted to expose Gio, apparently. But Vanessa was very cool. If you read these screenshots, you will note that Vanessa had so much aura in this conversation. So you can see in the screenshot here, vaguely, Mal's like, "Hi Vanessa, when did you last talk to JiosukeJio?" And she's like, "Oh, he's saying that you're blocked everywhere and he doesn't like you." And she's like, "Well, he's coming over to my place Christmas, so that's..." Yeah. And then Vanessa wants to know what the intention of the conversation with Mal is. Or, like, why Mal's, like, even bothering to contact her and stuff. Okay, interesting. And then Vanessa's like, "I couldn't give less fuck about this, like, text messages and everything." And, in that conversation, if you read it, you'll note that Mal was super insistent that Vanessa provide her screenshot proof of when she last talked to Gio. And Vanessa was just like, "I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this." So, yada yada, some time goes by, I suppose, and we have once again Mal kind of wanting to forgive this guy, kind of being like, "Oh yeah, if you get your shit together, get a therapist, all that stuff. I'm fine building shit up from scratch again, but my respect will need to be earned." Because, to be clear, Jiosuke was with Umari, like I said, the Miku-looking chick, Vanessa, and Mal, and just lying to them all about stuff, apparently. So I kind of found it like a little bit two-faced that how she acted in this whole situation. I think she wants to be Gio's friend, but he's been lying to her and another girl, and she's like, "Oh, I don't stand for cheating, yada yada," and she's like, "Oh, well, I'll be your friend again, Gio, if you just, like, work on yourself." And then later at 4 p.m. on that exact day, she's talking shit with Vanessa, saying that Gio obviously bots his streams. I don't like that. I like that. Like, I don't know what her fucking intentions are here, but I don't like that. And I'm not trying to say all this stuff to discredit Mal as, like, a person. I don't think she really had much to lie about with the Sykkuno stuff. I think maybe there was some stuff. Honestly, I don't really have anything to say except she was probably just very vindictive in that whole situation. Which you can kind of ascertain by the fact that she was like, you know, felt like she'd been cheated. I think anyone really in that situation would kind of feel the same way. And even people who aren't in that could probably understand that pretty well. So my next point. This is another one where I felt very creepy, but I just have to say, this is another thing that, to me personally, morally, I do not like that Hemomal, in my opinion, seems to edit her photos, but she acts like she doesn't. And it's really all just my opinion, and I don't have anything like definitive proof, but I only have pictures that are from her Twitter that I thought there's like kind of something that doesn't add up here. And so we have someone who was tweeting at her with this picture being like, "Mal, I gotta ask, how long does your skincare take? Because I have never seen such like perfect unblemished skin, lol." And she says, "It actually takes me a while. My friends always get upset I take so long to shower because I take 2 hours including my hair and skincare. but it's also a healthy diet because eat low salt, low sugar, and no processed foods apart from the occasional Oreo. Which, I believe her. I believe that she probably has all that stuff, but what I don't believe... I'm sorry, I don't believe your skin is that. I don't. Because, like, you look at, like, the texture of, like, her legs and stuff, and it's, like, it just looks artificial, but not, like, grainy artificial in, like, a, oh, I took this on, like, my MacBook, my Nokia. I took this on my Nokia and it's all grainy. It's like HD graininess. It's weird, right? I thought it was weird, and I didn't like that she was also kind of responding to people and being like, oh, how long do you take to make these photos? Skin is super clean. Should be body modeling instead of VTubing with such clear skin. That was in response to this one. But I have this picture here for a reason. And she says, I take these whenever I'm bored, lol. That's just how I woke up in the morning. I just take good care of myself. I'm sorry, but it's like... I just don't believe you, man. I just don't. And it's not because I'm, like, jealous or something. Honestly, all the more power to her. She does, like, sexy Patreon stuff. She's getting a bag. She's getting a bag for it. And I think, like, yeah, that's great. I'm not really... I don't know. Anyone who even knows me or looked at any of my stuff, you know I'm not a fucking prude. I'm not a fucking prude, dude. But, like, I'm saying that I don't like this feeling that there's, like, dishonesty here even with this. And it's like, I think she has a fantastic body. She looks great. There's nothing wrong with, like, the way that she looks. But you have to admit that, like, this... I feel like this looks kind of weird to me. And she's not naked. She's not naked. She's wearing a strapless top, by the way. I'm just being extra careful with it. God, I hope YouTube doesn't freak out. I just think, like, the waistline, it just, I don't know, there's something that just looks very weird to me about it, but the sole part of it to me is the skin. I feel like she's been using some kind of thing to change the way her skin texture looks. And I feel like it's okay to do that, just be honest about it. And this is another thing, this is, she likes taking gym pictures, which is like, okay, bless. And so she's kind of a gym girly. But as you can see, like, here's a picture of her eyes. Again, she posted this. I did not look anywhere special to find this. It's on her Twitter account. I just thought it was kind of weird how she, like, looks in this photo. And I know it's, like, it's not really a picture of her face. You can't really see it, but I just thought it looked kind of weird. But again, I could be, like, massively stretching this. I could be massively, what do they say? What do the girlies say? Reaching? I could be reaching. I don't know. But I just feel like it's, God, these are really hard to look at. Just because, like, I feel like I'm gonna get fucked with my shit. Oh. It's okay, YouTube. It's a bikini. So, this is one of those pictures where I'm like... It's got that graininess to it, but it's like, it looks like a photo. It looks like a photo that you just took. And it doesn't seem as artificial as, like, the one over here, right? Could be the lighting. It could be a different quality camera, maybe. But I feel like when I look at this reminds me of, like, photos that I've taken, right? Not, like, in that way, but, like, the texture of, like, the skin. You can see a beauty mark on her leg. And then, like, looking at, like, her waist in this video, a screenshot of a video I took. God, I feel like a weirdo. But I'm just saying that I feel like there's something kind of weird going on here. There's something kind of, like, dishonest, I think. Something dishonest about that, and I don't like that. But I still think that she had some valid things to talk about. So my final thoughts about Mal is that I think the Google Docie was necessary to help others come forward. I think there's no argument there. Personally. I think it also helps to prevent things like this in the future. It is necessary, as hard as it is. It's a lesson for everyone. In more ways than one. Maybe it's a lesson for people to approach the document style expose a bit differently in the future. Also for, like, commentary creators like Mujin to perhaps be a little bit more responsible with how they kind of convey these things. Yeah. I think Hemomal was a victim in this, in that she believed she was Sykkuno's sole love interest and he lied to her. I think victim is the right word to use here. Like, no, she's not a victim of a crime necessarily, but she is a victim nonetheless. And at the very least, he has hurt her, done damage to her, in my opinion. I think telling someone you want to move in with them and then leading them on, I think it's really cruel to do that. So I'm just so amazed that Sykkuno, like, did you not know that these antics would catch up to you at some point? Did you not know? So if Mal is lying about, like, editing some of these photos, or that photo in particular, it does kind of feel like I can ask what else she would lie about, and, you know, that's an if. I don't have total definitive proof that she edits. Umari, who was part of that whole quadrangle, also called her a liar. At some point, Umari and Mal were actually, like, kind of friends in that situation, kind of calling out Jiosuke, and at some point Umari started to not like her. And I don't know the full details of all that, because it's actually kind of confusing, but, yeah, and who knows if Umari is reliable either, but it seems pretty clear that, like, a lot of drama seems to follow this kind of person. So, in saying that, I don't believe that she lied about Sykkuno or any of that stuff, really. I think she made the document out of spite. And having Sykkuno's confession as proof, I think also helps her case a bit. But I think her document is ultimately clouded in wanting revenge of some sort, but it doesn't change the facts of what he did. I think it's very unfortunate what happened to his girlfriend. I think how she was kind of implicated in all of this, but I mostly still think it's Sykkuno who's to blame for it. I mean, no, Sykkuno didn't make the document, yada yada, but this situation wouldn't even be happening if Sykkuno was just 10% better of a fucking human being. And I think some of it, I don't know how victims can kind of come forward without really mentioning the girlfriend, or at least with, like, Mal, Bao, and, I think Mal and Bao, because Mal and Bao really did talk to her personally, so I don't know. That's kind of what I thought of it, but I could be wrong about that. But yeah, Sykkuno's the one at fault. But the details of their sex life between Sykkuno and his girlfriend probably should have been kept out of that. Or probably should have been. That was, I feel very sympathetic for the girl, because that's, she obviously is a private person. That's very, very private information made very, very public. So yeah, a lot of people are a lot more sympathetic for the girlfriend than Elfilea and Mal. I am suspicious of how the girlfriend's identity was somehow accidentally leaked due to a malfunction in either Mal or Mujin's video. I tried recreating it, what I saw myself. Like, I tried going to the video, checking frame by frame, seeing if I could replicate it, but I couldn't. So maybe the video was edited since the leak came out. It's speculative, and I don't have any confirmation from the parties involved, obviously. And with Mujin's video down, you can't even look at it that way, so maybe that's also a reason why it was deleted. Yeah, Sykkuno's girlfriend definitely should have been warned about this ahead of time and checked in on. 100%. So here we have it. We're an hour in. We've probably got another hour left. I'm being for real. Leia's experience. So Leia is a small Twitch streamer by the name of LeiaKai. She came forward a few days after Mal's docudrama. I don't know exactly when, because it was on a stream. So Leia's experience was that she wanted to go to a con called Evil, which happened in Las Vegas, but it was very expensive. So she had asked Sykkuno for hotel recommendations, because he lives in Las Vegas. To which he said he already had one, and she could stay with him. And then Leia asked if there would be others rooming with him, and he said no. But there would be 2 beds, so it wouldn't be, like, weird. I think it's important to note that Leia does recognize now that it was not very smart in accepting to stay in a hotel room with a stranger all alone, a strange man. And the first night, they apparently made plans to watch a horror movie together. Shout out Until Dawn. Apparently it sucked. Sykkuno tried to make a move on Leia during the movie, and then she claims that she was fully trying to say, like, I'm just here to watch the movie. But she goes on to say that she is a people pleaser and not very mentally or physically strong. And so it appears to me that she wasn't able to really communicate that she didn't want to do anything. She also mentions that she thought Sykkuno was cute and wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. And as I said before with this benefit of the doubt stuff, Sykkuno was surrounded by a lot of other female content creators, massive ones. And those girls would surely have had issues with him if he was like a freak weirdo. But it's also like, I guess they didn't know. And that's one of those things where it's like, you really can't be like, oh, these people hang out with them, so that person must be a real good person. They don't even know that person themselves. Isn't that interesting to think about? So yeah, Leia gives context saying that she doesn't just sleep with anyone, especially when they're not dating. She's only ever slept with 3 people at this time and then end up being a 4th time. She didn't want anything to happen in that regard, so she resolved towards giving him oral instead. So when he fell asleep, she ate a banana, sat by the window looking out, and started dissociating, kind of thinking like, what just happened? What just happened? It ran through her mind, I guess. And in the morning, Sykkuno apparently didn't want to talk about what had happened. Leia can't remember, but at some point Sykkuno hugs her and then pushes her onto the bed from the hug, and they end up having sex, as she put it. It appears once again she had trouble saying no. She recalls and says that she didn't have it in her to tell him to stop, so she just let it happen, which is not good. That if anyone is aware of anything about consent and stuff, that is not good. So as Leia mentioned earlier, she's not used to one-night stand situations and always wears protection. And Leia is apparently legally hard of hearing. So when Sykkuno asked if it was okay to finish inside of her as they were engaged in intercourse, she didn't hear what he asked her, but she just kind of said, mm-hmm, and then he did it. So, yeah. After the act, Leia asked Sykkuno if he did this kind of thing a lot, because it probably seemed like very easy for him to do. And to her, it was probably very, very different situations, so it's kind of like, whoa. When you meet someone who's like so different in that regard, it's like, do you do this often? So I guess she essentially wanted to know why he wanted to be intimate with her, because she probably thought he was kind of the same as her in that regard. Apparently he gave the same lie he gave every other girl, saying his last relationship was like 3 years ago, blah blah blah. Yada yada yada. And then Leia says in her video that she was blindsided by that, and she had no idea that she was essentially a homewrecker, as some people put it. She had no idea he was in a relationship. Never would have done that stuff if she knew. And fortunately, later that day, Leia ran into a friend who she ended up staying with throughout the con, avoiding Sykkuno. Good. Ultimately, the last night of her stay in Vegas, she was back in Sykkuno's room because he checked out early and decided to sleep at his own house. Weird. Weird on his part, is what I mean. Weird on his part. It's almost like he got a hotel for a reason. So later on, Leia would confront Sykkuno asking what that whole thing was about and what had happened, and she wasn't used to the situation, as I said. Sykkuno apologized, but seemingly didn't have much to say on like his feelings specifically, and Leia decided to just still be friends and kind of just deal with it, I guess. So the two of them would see each other later, maybe like years later or something, at a League of Legends event, and talk about the past where that stuff happened, and then Sykkuno apparently apologized further for his actions, still insisting he didn't sleep around with anyone, leading Leia to believe it was a one-time unusual thing for him also. So here's what I think about the situation, because this is a serious situation, I think. I think that as a woman, putting yourself in like these dangerous situations, never, 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 never do this. Staying in a hotel room with a strange man all alone, you can't do it, ladies. You cannot do it. You just can't. I don't know how old she was at the time of making this decision, but you just can't do that. As much as you want to go to like the event, yada yada, and nothing in this world is free. And I feel like Leia kind of put herself in a situation where even if she wanted to say no, it's like there's kind of an implication. There's this implication that if you do say no, well, what could happen? No, I'm not saying he's going to cut her up and put her into a suitcase. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there's a possibility that he gets you know, annoyed with her and goes, well, you can f off, get out of my room. There's that possibility. So I feel like Leia was in a situation where I don't think she could, even if she's already not mentally or physically strong with the way that she can't advocate for herself, she's a people pleaser. She's in a situation that's like doubling that. Because you can't really advocate for yourself in that situation, because what are you going to do? Oh, he's going to leave you and make you leave the hotel room, and then what, you're just homeless in Vegas for the duration of your stay there? It's kind of fucked up. I don't think anyone would want to be in that position. And I think that, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, well, it could have been prevented if she just didn't go. And it's like, well, sure. And that's why I'm saying, like, this is a situation where I think there's lessons for both men and women. And for me personally, I think that, yeah, women, we can't get into these situations. And of course, it's not to put the blame on her. It's not always easy as, like, knowing what to do, anticipating things. You know, I think there's, like, a through line here where a lot of the women, they're kind of, like, maybe they're a bit naive, maybe they want to, you know, give the benefit of the doubt. For whatever reason, they're kind of, like, seems like a fine guy. Okay. Yeah, so that's kind of what I was saying. I feel like Sykkuno should understand this dynamic. And in my personal opinion and point of view, I feel like he does. I feel like he knows what he's doing here, but I could be wrong. I'm not him. Don't know him. I could be wrong about that. Maybe he has no idea the power that his fame and fortune has. Maybe he has no idea what it's like to be flown out on someone else's dime and relying on that. Because you think about it, if he goes like, oh, I'll fly you out, you don't have to pay me back, and that person's probably not even saving up money for that instance anyway. So say you have like not that much money on you, and now you're homeless in Vegas because you refuse to fight someone in their hotel room. You don't have any money. What are you gonna fucking do? I don't know, man. Like, that's what I kind of think. I feel like, yeah, that's what I think about it. Okay. So I think informed consent, enthusiastic consent, lesson here for everyone. Unfortunately, like, again, like, for all Sykkuno could have known, she could have been really into it. He might have had that perspective. Maybe she seemed comfortable to him. I still think it doesn't reflect well on him, because she performed oral on him for like 30 minutes and he just went to bed and went to sleep. He did nothing for her. Did he offer anything? Like, I need Sykkuno to tell me, like, I need him to come out and tell us, like, what happened here. And, you know, listen, him going to bed straight after getting head, maybe that's why he's not had any intimate moments with his girlfriend. Just saying. I'm just saying. Selfish top. What do they call it? He's selfish. He's a selfish anything. Yeah, so also about the unprotected sex thing. She always has protected sex, BT dubs. But this is the one time that she didn't. And I think it is so fucked up that you're like mid-intercourse and then that's when you decide like to ask where to drop your load. I think you're a stupid fucking douchebag. Especially Sykkuno, you're a stupid fucking idiot. Absolute moron. Absolutely stupid. What the fuck? I'm not saying like, oh, maybe he didn't know she was legally hard of hearing or whatever. I don't fucking care. Any situation, if you're gonna be doing this shit, guys, you need to have this shit planned out before you do it. I'm just saying. I'm not saying you need to plan it like you're fucking going on a vacation or something. I'm just saying just have a conversation about what to do. Also, don't rely on that. Don't do it. Wear protection. Okay, that is my PSA for the day. So communication. I personally find it's hard to place too much blame on Leia in how she communicated in this scenario because, again, it was a scenario where she did not have power. Sykkuno held all the cards. And again, like I said before, should have been aware of this dynamic. I'm sorry, at his advanced age, should have been aware. And he at the very least didn't seem to care. And while we don't know how Leia communicated in this situation specifically, it's possible Sykkuno's perspective was that she seemed into it. It's alarming to me that it didn't seem like he tried to ask her about it either. And because I feel like Leia would include that if it happened. At the very least, Sykkuno should come out and give his piece of this, because, I mean, I'm not saying the worst is like selfish lover. I just think that, yeah, this does not reflect well on him. I'm just saying that. And then some other things I had to say was that I think it's a lesson for everyone to learn from, not necessarily an illegal thing that happened. Yeah, I mean, at least Leia didn't frame it as like it was something that like was like illegal to her in her sense. Like yeah, I think there's like ways where it could be construed as like, oh, this was like the R word. You know, she didn't have the heart to tell him to stop or to tell him no. It could definitely be that, but Leia doesn't say it herself. I think Leia, her feelings about it are very like complicated. I don't really know, like I can't tell her how she feels. I can't say for certain. I just think that when you say that like you didn't want to do it and you couldn't, or you wouldn't say anything, you wouldn't tell them that you didn't want to do it, like, to me that seems like you did not consent to it. That's all I'm saying. So that kind of opens up a can of worms. And people have criticized Leia and her situation, saying she's a dumb hoe for going to a hotel room with a man, yada yada, and not outright saying how she felt, or I guess like, yeah, because I don't know. It's like, I just don't agree with that. I mean, I agree, like, oh yeah, she shouldn't have gone to the hotel with him from the get-go, but I think that Sykkuno definitely had a role to play in this. Of course, he was the other person, so I don't like how people are just saying shit about Leia. I don't think that's okay. So I think it is relevant to the document. Some people said like, oh, why is she even coming out with this? This is just embarrassing, yada yada yada. I think it's relevant because she corroborates the cheating, the lies. She allows other girls to contextualize their experience with Sykkuno, possibly. And also the whole he flies girls out to, like, sleep with them argument. That was a big part of it. Remember Elfilea? Still don't know if she slept with him, by the way, but, maybe she did. I don't know. Yeah. So I also think that this story helps bring awareness to prevent other girls from being vulnerable and actually to help guys. I think this is a very important situation for guys to learn from. And do you think they'll learn from it? We'll see. Another thing people said is this shouldn't be public. Mate, I think she has every right to come out publicly with this story. I think she does. I think she's fine for that. I just think that, yeah, I don't really see the whole, like, as far as I'm concerned, the whole can of worms has been opened. Everyone's gonna come out, say their piece, move on. I think at this point, I think even if she said this before the document came out, like if this was like something on its own, I think people would be calling him the R word. Maybe. Maybe I'm delusional about that, but I just think that that's like kind of, if you look at the situation in a vacuum, it's kind of disgusting. Like, it's really disgusting. And I think there's a reason why people like resort to thinking like they imagine disgraced film producer Weinstein, I guess. I'm not saying Sykkuno is like that. I'm just saying I can understand why a lot of people would think like that. I can understand it, but I don't know for certain, okay? Okay, so, Icelyn's experience. Icelyn was 17 years old when a mutual friend connected her with Sykkuno. Sykkuno messaged her first, and there is an 11-year age difference, so Sykkuno was around 27, 28 years old at the time. Icelyn says 28, I said 27, 28 because I just wanted to be a bit like I don't know the months, okay? G. So, they first met in 2020, and to be clear, there are no allegations of Sykkuno trying to bed a being made. No one's saying that. The two just talked about video games and played them together. So Icelyn was a facecam streamer before VTubing, and Sykkuno would pop into her stream from time to time, back when she was 17 years old. And Sykkuno made comments about her hair, saying her hair was nice. short hair is nice for hugs and stuff. And made some weird jokes. Made some weird jokes, which we are going to go through. So we don't know the exact date of her birthday, as she wants to keep it private, but she invited Sykkuno to her 18th birthday party, which was a Twitch stream. Now, if it was a real-life birthday party, like, oh, come to my 18th birthday party, Mr. 28-year-old, that's a little bit weird. But it was a stream, so, you know, remember, 2020 lockdown vibes, it's all good. It's not known if Sykkuno reasonably knew that Icelyn was a minor when they started talking. I think he needs to address this as well. Icelyn at the time, she says she wasn't bothered, but looking back at some of like their messages, she kind of views it in a different light. And I think it's understandable that a 17-year-old at the time might not catch on to certain things, and it's also vague enough that there's a lot of plausible deniability for Sykkuno. And some background of Icelyn and her story. She dropped out of school at 15 years old due to extreme mental health issues, and she struggles with diagnosed ADHD, OCD, autism, generalized anxiety disorder, and an eating disorder, and admits to having, you know, like low self-confidence and body issues, self-esteem. So she wants to know that these are things to not take away from her own accountability, but to provide us with her character and how she is vulnerable of being taken advantage of, which I think is fair. So here we have one of the messages where she sent this video, and it's a video of this VTuber girl who, I think she's Japanese, but she's saying like, fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck? Sorry, my throat is like killing me. And then he says, oh, so this is what you're into. And she's like, huh? Wait, did I do something wrong? And he's like, huh? Sorry, you didn't. I was just messing with you a little. So sorry. And then she says, the jokes go over my head. Yeah, and then there's this other one where she's like, well, you have me now. The only reason I'll stop talking to you is if I get kidnapped. Well, that goes for all my friends. Really. Because I have nothing to do but to talk to them. So yeah, if I don't respond, call the FBI. And he's like, alright, unless I'm the one doing the kidnapping. Okay. JK lol. And then we have this other one where he's like, so you're gonna poke me like one time? And then the dinosaur will kill me, so lol, JK. Wait, how are you responding while streaming? Also, your hair looks nice today. And she's like, multitasking, and she's like, oh, I didn't do anything with my hair. And then he says, oh god, it naturally looks nice. Dang it, I look like a hobo because of the quarantine. I need a haircut. Oh. I tried to scroll down. My hair used to be pretty short, but now it's growing out. No, your hair is fine. What do you mean? It does look like it annoys your eyes, but other than that, yeah, it does look like it annoys his eyes. Has he had the same haircut all these years? I guess men have limited haircuts, hey? So he's like, oh god, lol, do you prefer your hair short or long? And she's like, on me? And she says, short is easy to maintain, and it doesn't, like, swamp my face as much. And then he's like, oh, yeah, short is nice, I think. And she's like, I used to have super long hair, and was so hard to wash and maintain. Ugh, what about you? And he's like, oh, I prefer shorter too, actually. I think long hair can look nice, though, but shorter hair is nicer for hugs and stuff. I don't know, but both are good. And she's like, I meant for you. And he's like, oh, for me, I prefer shorter-ish, I guess. Not like super short, but not like super long. And she's like, okay, normal length guy hair. Oh my god. So, Icelyn would talk to Sykkuno sporadically over a period of about 5 years. She personally never heard anything bad about him. At times he was flirty, but never over the top. She usually didn't pick up on it. So, at a point, Sykkuno actually opened up to Icelyn about private personal stuff like his family, childhood, sob story, yada yada. And he even gave her his phone number at some point. That's a pretty personal thing, especially from the Sykkuno. Probably makes you feel pretty special. So their relationship began to shift when he learned that she had never had sex, she was a virgin, And during these calls, he kind of made romantic advancements. That's why she unfortunately doesn't have many receipts pertaining to how it started. And she was, by the way, an adult once that happened, okay? Apparently it sprung up because they were alone in a call together. And she mentioned that she was, like, awake later than usual because her medication was giving her side effects. Mentioned that she was on the pill, contraceptive, and he was surprised, assumed she was sexually active, and then she clarified and went, I'm not. So as their relationship grew, Icelyn was a bit insecure. Asked him at times, like, oh, why me, why me? You're a large, successful creator. Why do you want anything to do with little old me, right? She thought she was nothing special, and he simply told her that he trusted her, and to Icelyn it made sense. They could have a discreet relationship, they could, yeah, be discreet, basically. So, it was that benefit. As they got more romantic, she asked if he was seeing anyone. He, of course, said no. Apparently, the first time she asked, it was true, and then, like, the next time, it was not. But anyway, Icelyn believed that he was only interested in her, and it would lead to a relationship with, the two of them. So it was only into her, relationship be between them, that's all. Awesome. She says that if she knew that he was seeing multiple girls, she would not have stayed. So before this fateful call ended, about them becoming romantic, I guess, she sent him a picture of herself and he apparently sounded like he was jerking off and breathing heavily right as the call ended. That's what she says, that's her point of view. Sykkuno, again, to her point of view, he was the initiator of all things sexual, romantic, and flirtatious. Icelyn was simply following her lead, according to her. So at one point, she sent him an explicit photo as part of a trade deal, that he was going to also send her that. And yeah, she was also interested because it'd be a show of mutual trust, you know? It's a very vulnerable thing to do, to send someone sensitive pictures, explicit pictures of yourself. I don't know any details of like how explicit it was, but to her it was. And yeah, and also he bragged about having a huge dick. I'm not even joking. So according to Icelyn anyway, that's what she said. So she wanted to see at least an outline, you know, something suggestive, you know? Yeah, so he never got around to doing it. He always made excuses. He never sent any explicit photos of him. She even said, like, oh, you can just wear clothes. Just like, I want something a little bit suggestive. Something for, like, me. Didn't do it, the bastard. And he had the audacity to ask for another prize. This one being of behind her. Like her butt, I guess. Okay. Meeting in person. So you might remember Elfilea's trip to Paris in December 2025 for a con. Apparently, Icelyn was another girl that Sykkuno was asking if she would meet him in Paris and hang. And initially, Icelyn said that she wouldn't go because she had no money, and that was the easiest answer for her. The truth was, she was nervous to travel alone to a foreign country where she knew no one. Meeting someone for the first time, like Sykkuno and the crowds, daunting. Given our knowledge of her diagnoses, it's like, makes a lot of sense, really. She says she wasn't looking for a handout, but it was just a situation that was overwhelming. So we have the chats here, and he's like, morning, are we hanging out at TwitchCon? And she's like, I can't go, I'm sorry, I'm broke. And he's like, no, okay, but what if I went to Paris later this year? You could go to that. I mean, technically, yes. Wait, really? But again, money. He says, alright, I'll buy you the flight. And she's like, no, don't do that. And he's like, wait, why not? And she's like, because I have no way to repay you. And he's like, that's okay, I didn't want you to repay me. Nothing in this world is free. A man's gonna pay for that? So I don't want to think back for it. Run out of his arms. I'm gonna be like Bao, except I'm gonna say run away. So in the end, Icelyn is kind of convinced she wants to go to Paris, meet Sykkuno, and at least she's been there before when she was like, I think 11 years old, and it's only like a 2-hour plane ride. The catch is that Sykkuno says he'd be busy at a TFT tournament and she might have to spend most of the time in the hotel room. Ooh. Yeah, so he's like, oh, I'll probably be super busy with the TFT event and I wouldn't want you to just be sitting there bored. And she's like, I love puzzles. I can do puzzles for hours alone. This is the kind of the kicker. This is in 2025, by the way. This is the beginning of 2025. People are kind of like, oh, she says that she's gonna sit in the hotel room and do puzzles. Yeah, she's autistic. I hate to say it, but I mean, I kind of relate. Okay. Anyway, anywho, yeah. So this is where people were like, oh yeah, she's definitely a little bit neurospicy, I guess. What can I say? That's what people are saying, okay? So yeah, she's like, I'm pretty good at entertaining myself. And he's like, that sounds so sad. No, lol. Which is like, mate, if she says she's happy doing it, don't say it sounds sad. I feel like that's like insulting. I feel like that's genuinely insulting. If you don't want her to be sitting in a hotel room alone, I don't know, figure it out and get her involved. Oh wait, you can't because you have a girlfriend. Ooh, yeah. And probably like 20 gazillion other girls coming. I'm just being silly. Okay. So then, Sykkuno is figuring out the logistics and then says, maybe Iceland can visit for like one day? So he's like, leaving on the 15th, I was thinking maybe you visit for like one day or something. You want her to come to Paris for one day? Okay. And she's like kind of down for it. And then he's like, I mean, you could always change a flight or get a hotel for more nights. So then she's like, well, it seems like a waste to go to Paris for just a day just to sit in a fucking hotel room. She is correct, BT dubs. Yeah, so she's like, I want to walk around Paris, see things. You know, just a girl who's terrified of French people. Oh, what does that mean? Oh my god, Iceland? French phobic? Deep L on her phone, what could go wrong? Yeah, that would kind of suck. What do you think? I think it'd be fun. I think so too. Just don't drug me and chop me into pieces and put me in a suitcase. They're still bringing up the suitcase thing, even all these years later. It's so cute. Yeah. Okay, so Iceland's also unsure if she should be seen publicly with Sykkuno, considering, like, yeah, the basis of their relationship is that it's, like, discreet. Because of his fan base. Apparently his girlfriend's name is Fanbase. I don't know why I keep doing that. Yeah, so she doesn't want him to worry about, like, her being there at the tournament, watching him, yada yada, people seeing her, implications. Yeah, so there you have that. So that's kind of why she was kind of like, I just don't think I should be around others. I should just be at the hotel room. And he's just like, yeah. And so he's like, let me see if I can just extend my trip like a couple days or something. Lol. Then you can come visit. We don't have to worry about all that. Oh my god, this is such bullshit. So Sykkuno ends up being like, oh my god, I think it's close to Christmas and they're so expensive to change flights. It might be kind of cooked. And then she's like, oh, okay. Probably sad. And he's like, it's like 1.8k to push it back one day. Yeah. So then he's like, well, would you still want to hang out even if it was only for a day? And she's like, yeah, I mean, maybe. And he's like, we could just do another time. So I feel like Sykkuno is really gonna be all like, oh, it's 1,800 to get an extra day in Paris alone with this girl. Oh, it's so difficult. I was saying, like, it was in February when they were planning this. Like, is it really that hard to change a booking from December all the way from February? I know it's Christmas time, but I'm like, okay, maybe it is. I don't know. I've never done that before. So the guy makes so much money, and he's having a fit over that. And like, maybe I'm Delulu, but my impression is that he had Elfilea coming on his dime, and now Iceland was going from saying no to accepting and wanting to go. So he's still asks if he wants to hang out with her for just one day, maybe? Keep her locked in the hotel, you know what I'm saying? A little joke there. But in the end, she didn't go because of issues with her passport. And also, remember, Elfilea got like $1,700 from this guy. What? The change of the flight, a little bit's $1,800. You gave Elfilea $1,700, apparently. How would he juggle multiple girls? Who fucking knows? So, Elfilea and Icelyn. Icelyn found out that some girl named Elfilea was invited to Paris by Sykkuno, so she anonymously DM'd Elfie to ask her if, just to see if like the situation was similar to hers. Unfortunately, her DMs were off, so she didn't see it, and Icelyn kind of regretted not pursuing it further, but she kind of told herself like, oh, Elfie might just be a friend. That's it. And she didn't want to be like all insecure and lose her relationship over being potentially like just insecure, right? Her insecurities. So from this point onwards, Icelyn acknowledges that she was probably gullible, stupid, naive, not something I would say myself about her. I don't know her, but I feel like she's being very hard on herself in a way, but she liked him, and she thought the best of someone she was romantically involved in, someone who she, for all intents and purposes, thought was her, I guess, boyfriend, or at least she was the only person for him. So we have more lies. After the TFT tournament, Icelyn asked Sykkuno again, point blank, if he was doing any of this stuff with anyone else, and he says no. So then she has this moment where she's like starting to have suspicions. At one point he forgets a few times that she's an only child, and he insists that he thought she had siblings. Getting a roster mixed up there, are we, Sykkuno? So then there were times where Sykkuno disrespected Icelyn's time, where she would wake up at 5 AM because there's like a time zone difference, just for them to hang out, and it just wouldn't happen, and then he wouldn't even apologize for it. Like, that's kind of dicky. So then money. Sykkuno gave Icelyn some money, but only once as like a Christmas gift for her new GPU, and corroborating what other girls also said about receiving money from Sykkuno, at least he puts it to good use, I guess. Also the fact that Elfilea was given $1,700, yeah, from Sykkuno for stuff, but he simply could not stay in Paris an extra day. Oh, let's be real. You know what? It probably was. He had a tight schedule. He had, people lined up. Didn't want his girlfriend to get suspicious. And frankly, maybe didn't care enough to extend it for Icelyn. Could have been that. So after the public allegations, this is fucking crazy. Icelyn was still messaging him after all the stuff I just told you about came out. After everything was publicized, Icelyn reached out to him for some closure, and she admits that part of her wanted him to feel the same pain that she did. Icelyn felt unimportant, like she was lost in a sea of other girls. She felt special to him once, and then realized she was just another chick. Icelyn acknowledges that in this document she was, and she still is, very angry, and in particular, she didn't like his apology. She felt it was mostly about him, and how he was only human and going through a lot. She felt like he was dodging accountability and continuing to lie, even when he was caught out. So Icelyn views Sykkuno as someone who has no remorse or regard for anyone who he toyed with. Like, what a piece of shit. So the girls who all had received, I think, personal apologies from Sykkuno, they all corroborated with each other and found that he pretty much repeated parts of his apology to the point where it felt like he had a formula down, and just replacing certain words to tailor it for the girl. That's their perspective. And so here's a message from this year after the public allegations. We got the 13th of April, a couple days after the docu was released. And she's like, well, let's not lie. You invited me to Paris while inviting two other girls that I know of. So we only know of her and Elfilea, but apparently there's a third girl, according to this message, if I'm reading that right. There's 3 girls he invited to Paris. That's pretty bad. And he says, you rejected me there, but I did stop talking as much. She did not reject him. Also, what does that even mean? It's like, oh, well, you rejected me there, so guess what? I invited someone else that I wanted to fuck. Okay, that's like still bad. And she's like, no, I didn't reject you. You said you couldn't extend the trip. And what even if I had that proves I'm not the only one you're talking to with multiple other people ready to be deployed? I've known you 6 years, can you at least be a little more truthful? And he's like, I'm telling you it, but for the original question, I don't fully know why. A combination of wanting to say things to make you happy, being afraid and insecure to make you upset. It's not a simple answer. I'm sorry it's hard to put together, especially right now. I haven't been having a good time. Bitch, nobody cares that you're not having a good time. I'm sorry. This guy's a piece of shit. I said, yeah, so she said she wouldn't care. So when she asked him, she was like, oh, are you doing this with more people? Like, all the more power to you if you are. I just want to know. She wanted to be informed about it, and he was dishonest, according to her. Yeah. So that's that. We have more, and he's like, I'm sorry for hurting you and not communicating properly. And she said, you're being dramatic. Yeah, I cried a lot, but I kind of knew. Why else would I ask you twice about it? Yeah, she probably kind of did have a little feeling. And he says, sorry for the drama, it's just been a hard time. And he says, I'm a human too, so. Yeah. It's hard to be more than just crushed right now, he says. Okay? Crushed by the weight of all your decisions that you made over the past, like, 5-6 years? Okay. Okay, yeah, I guess my mind is still in 2025. Holy shit. Yeah, so it was kind of like wondering if, the times they spent together were real, she's like. I can understand that. He's like, yeah, it was fun spending time together. Yeah, yada yada. And he's like, thank you for messaging me. That was the closest thing to a smile I've had, remembering that. Shut up. And then she's like, good thing you have those investments I get. I mean, as sad as I am. Oh. I think she's talking about his financial investments. Because then she's like, you've hurt so many people, you're still human. Hopefully with therapy, time everyone will heal. But you probably should have vetted and picked a little better. And she said, hey, you had a pretty good run, all things considered. I think she's referring to his career. And he's like, that's life. And it sounds like you think I'd never plan on coming back. She's like, you'd have to have balls of steel to come back right now. And he's like, yeah, not right now, of course. So he's planning a comeback. Which, when that happens, I'm gonna be very happy to ignore. Yeah, so anything, she's like, you didn't do anything illegal, did you? Not that you should tell me if you did. Again, what you did, it sucks, but people don't act logically, they act emotionally. Right now, they're hurt, so emotions take the wheel. I still consider you a friend, maybe that's wrong, or someone I care about your well-being. I think that's fair, she cares about his well-being. I mean, yeah, it's, honestly, obviously as well, his position that he's in is like not hard. It's hard. It's not easy. He's getting everyone dogging on him. I think there's a fair amount of people who are kind of defending him, just the basis of like the Hemomal document, the Mujin video, but it's not easy. No. But in saying that, I don't wish him harm. That's all I'm saying. So, after the public allegations, so basically, Icelyn felt like he was not really remorseful after he came out with his apology, and the fact that he was openly talking to her about plans to maybe come back soon eventually, doesn't seem like he was too focused on healing. So, like, yeah, sure, it's his income, it's his job, of course he's gonna think about it. Maybe don't say it to the girl you spent the last year or so leading on and lying to. And Icelyn's story is still very important to the situation as a whole. It corroborates and shows us another depth to the layers. Very important. So in my conclusion, I think that these girls gave their consent based on false pretenses, lies. They were led to believe things that weren't true, judging by the information that's been given out. And at times they were perhaps a little naive and as Icelyn said, gullible. You know, too good to be true maybe. Oh, this guy Sykkuno, single for the past like the entire time he's been a creator. Ooh. Maybe we're a bit gullible. Perhaps it was the fact that Sykkuno had so many seemingly close friends and relationships with famous women who would, you know, surely be appalled by his behavior. Disappointed, I think, comes to mind. And there's the fact that he managed to keep his girlfriend a secret from not just his friends, but those girls, while living with her, is crazy. Imagine the Discord calls, and he's just like, can't talk too loud right now, my girlfriend will hear me. Oh. People visited him. They never knew he had a girlfriend. How is that possible? How is that possible? His girlfriend didn't help decorate the house? His girlfriend didn't leave a cute blanket lying around? She didn't have any girly products in a spare bedroom somewhere or spare bathroom? Is there a room where she does her work, her business? I have to wonder, are these people stupidly oblivious, or is Sykkuno controlling of her also? Anyway, this is what I'm speculating. I'm just wondering. I don't know for sure. But I think, yeah, at the end of the day, my thoughts are with the girlfriend. Absolutely, because she's probably having like the hardest time out of them all. She is the one that I was thinking, when I was going through all this stuff, I was thinking like, I really hope her mental health is okay, because out of anyone, she seems the one person who's probably like not doing as good. I saw some, I don't know, when I was doing research, I saw some screenshots of her Twitter from like a long time ago, and just even looking at like the general, some of the content made me think that she seems like a very, probably being very parasocial here, but she probably seems like a very sad kind of girl. And yeah, my thoughts are with her, and I think it's very sad, and I hope, please, nobody spout stuff that wants to be kept private, okay, guys? Anyway, hour 40 minutes. I hope this was a good video. I hope you enjoyed it. That's it. And, oh my god, this is so much work. But yeah, let me know what you think, okay? And do you have any words you want to argue about the definitions of? Argue in the comments down below. The labels of relationship, dating, I believe predator was one of them. Lots of words to argue about definitions there. And do you believe? Insert question here. Bye.